Hey guys, I hope you guys are making good progress with your proposal assignments. But I just want to take a few minutes to talk about methods. I know I've talked to a bunch of you guys individually about your projects, and I think that's been very helpful to both me and you. And if there's something out there, I'll just throw this out there too. If there's something out there that you're not understanding or you're having a hard time with, please let me know, and I'll try to provide some more information on it. Okay? So I know there's still some approval forms hanging out there. If you don't have an approved approval form, because I mark at the top either approved or not approved. If you have one that's not approved, please resubmit as soon as you can. I know I've talked to several of you about it, so just get it in as quickly as you can because I cannot grade your assignments without an approved approval form for your project. Your topic has to be approved, okay? So be sure to get those in, and that'll help you move in the right direction for your project as well. Um, and when you're formulating your project, I know a lot of you are starting to work on your proposals, which consists of, as I've mentioned in a previous video, your research question, um, your literature review, your methods. And when you're formulating methods, I know I've had some conversations with students about methods. And, we've read in the past few chapters about different designs for your research. Um, I know a great deal of you, in speaking with you, are looking at A/B design, which is probably one of the most simplest to look at for, especially when we're working in this tight time frame. We only have really 4 to 6 weeks of data collection. So that in research world, that is a teeny tiny amount of time. So, A/B design is just fine if you want to do that. I put a great video in, I think it's module 6 about A/B design. It's kind of lengthy, but let me tell you, it's great information about A/B, and you come away with a better understanding of A/B design and also of single subject research. Because when we think of research, we think about these big research studies you hear about on the news, or these clinical trials, or they're trying a new drug, actual scientific research. But we're looking at research in a little bit different fashion. While it is still evidence based and somewhat scientific, and statistical, we take a little bit different approach, in social work. And so that video provides some good information on research specific to social work. So check out those videos in Module 6. There's a couple of them that I think will provide some really good information for you guys in designing your method section. But things to keep in mind. And in my mind, in research, the most crucial part when you're doing your methods is to ensuring that when you're measuring your behavior, your dependent variable, you're measuring it the same way during your baseline period, which in AB, that's your A period, right? The same way in your intervention period. Once you introduce that independent variable, that intervention, you want to still be measuring the same thing, okay? So if I'm measuring my steps, okay, which I have, the watch that does that for me, but if I'm measuring that during my baseline period, I just be measuring my steps daily. The steps I took in day, say I'm doing a 2 week baseline period. So in day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would have all that information. Okay. When I get to my intervention period, say I want to do 4 weeks of intervention in my B, the first was A, this is your B, and if you're doing A/B design, when I get there, I want to continue to measure my steps even though I'm providing an intervention. So say I decide I want to listen to I'm going to meditate once daily, first thing in the morning. I want to meditate when I get up, and I want to measure that I completed, X amount of time of meditation daily. You would, quantify that in your data collection that you did do that. But also you would continue to measure your steps. That way I can see in my research project if my daily meditation had an effect on my steps. Okay, it made me more active, right? So if I don't have the same type of data to compare to in the baseline period and also in the intervention period, it makes it really hard when you're talking about results because you're not comparing apples to apples. So be sure when you're designing your projects, you're measuring your behavior, your dependent variable, the same way in the baseline period as well as in the intervention period. That is the key element in designing your research. Otherwise, you have a lot of issues with validity and reliability. I mean, how reliable could the study be if you're not even comparing apples to apples, right? So that would create a huge problem when you're looking at your research. Okay. Now, part of research is understanding all the things that affect your research. Okay. So after you collect your data, which we're not going to start that till after these proposals go in, so don't start worrying about that just quite yet, but you'll be ready. Once you turn in your proposals, you'll have your methods together so you know exactly how you're going to do this, and then you can put it into action, right? But after you collect your data, part of the next, submission, the major assignment at the end is to, put that first piece, your proposal, with your data collection and your results, and analyze it. And when we analyze it, we think about all the things that could affect the research, right? And of course, when you're doing single subject research, there's always issues with that, in that, we are doing it on ourselves. And, just being conscious of the research happening could skew the results, right? I mean, we're all going to have that issue. But think about all the other things that could play in to, be a factor. I mean, if I had a broken leg, it would certainly make it affect my research and my step count, would it not? So things like that could be a factor. Aid could be a factor. Different things like that. So be thinking about those things as you're formulating your methods, because it will help you in the end to evaluate your results. Okay, so just be kind of getting in that mind frame as you're moving forward. Creating your methods. Right now, we're focusing on just creating methods and determining how we're going to do the research, but just keep that in mind as you move forward. And like I said, I think the videos provide some great information, specifically on the actual research design that you would want to do. If you have questions, you're not sure, please feel free to contact me. I know I have talked to almost all of you guys on the phone about your projects individually, and please don't hesitate to contact me again. We'll set up a time and talk again. And I think at least to me, it seemed like it was easier just to have a little chat about it and kind of work through some of those issues. So I'm here for that. So you guys take care. Good luck in formulating your methods. Take care. Bye.